What's going on, everyone? It's Mike back again from a really unflattering angle. Your preview, Everton against Aston Villa. Game, Goodison Park, difficult. Villa coming off the back of a 3-2 defeat to Arsenal with a bit of a weird goal for the Arsenal third goal. Scored pretty much last minute. A shot by Jorginho, bounces off Martinez's head after hitting the crossbar and goes in. So you'd probably argue they would feel unlucky. They played well. They've got good players. They've got pace in the sides. They've got players that, Everton know very well in players like Luca Dean, who seem to be playing slightly different in a different system, a different style under Emery, and seems to be getting a bit more game time. And we know how dangerous he can be from deliveries of a cross on his left foot, free kicks, etc. So we know how good he can be. We know defensively they're okay. They're not brilliant. They've got some decent centre-halves. England international in Mings. Konza is a player that I've rated for quite a while. They've got a few injuries. Villa are a decent side. There's no getting around it. They're probably, in my opinion, squad-wise, they're probably just outside the top 7. I think they have got a good squad. I think they've got a well-rounded squad. They've got some young players, especially the lad that they've brought in from America, who looked really, really lively. And yeah, this isn't an easy game. They've got a goal scorer in Watkins, who has been on a decent run recently. They've got creative players in Buendia and Coutinho. So again, good players. Spent a lot of money on these players. And you'd probably argue that under previous managers, the Copite, and previous to them under... he went to Norwich, didn't he? His name escapes me now, but he was a decent manager, did a decent job with them. So, yeah, all of a sudden they've got a manager that, has European pedigree. He's won the Europa League a few times. He's managed Arsenal, etc., etc., etc. And they're coming to a Goodison Park that has been weak at times this season, up until Sean Dyche comes in, where, we've managed to grind out results. We played really well against Arsenal. We played really well the weekend, I would say, against Leeds, albeit some people disagree with that comment, but I felt that the game, I felt like we dominated. I know some Leeds fans would disagree, and that's fine, that's your opinion, but I felt like we did a really good job at containing Leeds' main threats, which was the wingers, and I don't really think they did any damage. Coleman scored a good goal. Their keeper made a mistake. But there was numerous chances in that game where Everton could have scored. We just don't have a forward. It's that simple, balls across the box. We look more attacking. We look more aggressive. We look like a decent footballing side. We look like a side that can play in different styles. We can go through the middle. We can go out wide. We can go long. All of a sudden, we've got different options. And, this game, this is an opportunity, really, because, on paper, this is a tough match. But if Everton can get 3 points in this game, and that means they've got 9 from the last 12, you'd say it's really, really good results. You'd say it's really positive to get 3 home wins on the bounce, gives us that confidence, puts us on a few more points than we need, and I'll probably expect it at this point. Dyche has done a fantastic job, and it just keeps us going in the right direction. It is against a Villa side that are a difficult side, but I like to think that maybe they're going to have a bit of a blip moment because, I think the stuffing would have been knocked out of them against Arsenal. They're away from home. Their record's not brilliant. So I just think we've got to go into this game, bit of composure, probably similar team to what played against, Arsenal and Leeds, to be fair, and grind out 3 points again. And, if it's a clean sheet, great, 1-0, you take that. If it's not a clean sheet, you take a 2-1. Everton don't score lots of goals, so we're not all of a sudden going to score 3, 4 or 5 past these guys. But we need to find different players to score goals. I'd like to see Demarai Gray starting up front. If I'm being totally honest, transparent, I think Demarai Gray offers a lot more than Maupay. And I think if you're going for a physical presence, I think Ellis Sims' experience against Mings and Konza, I just don't think he'll be able to do anything. And that's not a criticism of his. He just doesn't have the experience playing top level. So I think you throw in Demarai Gray, who, yes, doesn't have the physical presence, but he's got the pace to get in behind Villa. I think he'll probably make that run through the channels, and I think he'll cause problems. I would start Demarai Gray 100% in this game. I'd keep the rest of the team the same. Onana's fit, thank God. I mean, that would have been horrendous if he wasn't, because I think he's played really well under Sean Dyche. I love the fact that in his press conference today he mentioned the fact that Stephen Dalfor's been on the phone to him and they've had that conversation, and they're doing all the right things to help him progress. That's great, brilliant. And I love that. I love the fact that Sean Dyche has come in. He's wanted to look at what he's got. He hasn't panicked at the fact that we haven't brought anyone in. There's been no stress in his voice. And this is one of the things I mentioned at the first press conference before the Arsenal game. This is a manager that has come in and all of a sudden made me go, I feel all right. Jordan Pickford's on the verge of signing a new deal. Look, that's good news. Probably because of his sale value, if I'm being totally honest. But it just means the club's going forward still. This team and the boards and everything connected with Everton has been stale for a long time. And Sean Dyche, albeit the football is probably not the glamorous stuff that people want, he hasn't got the players to do it, and he's getting the best out of the players he's got. This game is massive for various reasons, but when you've got Leeds who are playing, if I'm not mistaken, they're playing Southampton. You've got teams like Southampton going to Chelsea and winning. You've got Bournemouth going to Wolves and winning. This group of teams, Wolves, West Ham, us, I'd still even argue Forest are in it. The two teams at the bottom, Bournemouth, Southampton, there's not a lot between either of them. And there's not a lot in terms of quality either. I'd probably argue that West Ham are definitely underperforming because they do have quality in their side at the bottom of the league. They do. But I would argue the other teams are all similarly matched. If anything, from a squad depth and a squad ability perspective, certainly in the striking areas, Everton are probably the weakest because Calvert-Lewin's always injured, Ellis Sims is a young lad, and Maupay's not a footballer. So I'd probably argue that Everton in a striking capacity are the worst out of all of those teams. It's just we make up for it in hard work, a bit of grit, defensive structure, organisation, and all of this has come on since Sean Dyche come into the job because we didn't have any of that under Lampard. I remember sitting, not in this particular room, this is a hotel, but in this particular, on a video, talking to you guys and saying, look, I think we're the worst team in the league. And I genuinely think if Sean Dyche wasn't in, if this was still Frank Lampard's Everton, I think we would be the worst in the league. I think defensively we got away with it for a long time. And I think between the Bournemouth games and now, I think it's chalk and cheese. The first 10 games of this season, we were not conceding a lot of goals. I put a tweet out saying Everton have got the second best defensive record in the league. What a mistake that was, because ever since that happened, it's gone to pot. And now you're looking at an Everton side that's looking back solid again to a degree. There's still been opportunities where teams have been able to get in behind. There was still, in my opinion, a couple of opportunities for Leeds that I don't really want to see. I think Arsenal could have scored. Certainly there was one that was flashed over the bar that you probably argue would go in most times. So we're definitely still conceding chances. The difference is we're reacting better, we're playing better, we're conceding less chances. We've just got to keep this up. This Villa side have all the ability, all the tools to cut us open. You've just got to be defensively resolute. Garner Gaze looked like a different player. Some people have criticised me and him, weirdly. I don't play in the same midfield as Garner, but they've criticised me for being so complimentary. I actually think Garner has really improved under Dyche. And I feel like Dyche has been able to use Garner's experience. Obviously, he's played high level. He's played for Everton himself. He's also played for Villa, by the way. This is somebody who knows the Premier League, knows the quality that you need to have, knows the physicalities, but he's a slight individual. He's not the strongest, yet he goes into every challenge. He carries the ball out well, and he's really improved under Dyche because under Lampard, I felt at times he looked a little bit lost in that midfield. Onana has stepped up, albeit I've always quite liked him. I think he's still raw. I think he still have his moments of not greatness, but there's also moments of sheer quality. And Iwobi, I think he's still got to kick on a little bit more. He looked really good at the start of the season. He's done okay middle part of the season. I feel like he's tailed off a little bit. And over the last couple of weeks, I'm seeing this ball-carrying player that I've been going on about, and I feel that he's one of his strongest assets is ball-carrying. Again, got criticised for it, but he's not a passer. He's not a passer of the ball. He's a ball carrier. He's got that bit of skill, that little bit of trickery to create a bit of space and to do something with the ball. So that's fine. So we've just got to work with what we got. I think we've got to grind out another home win. I think it's really key if we can get a win. I don't think it's the end of the world if it's a draw. If I'm being totally transparent with you, I don't think it's the end of the world if it's a draw. But 3 points would be massive. And if we can get 3 points in there, I don't expect anything away at Arsenal on Wednesday night. I don't expect anything. A game that I will be at. Then we go into the games against teams like Brentford and Forest. And these are games where Everton, in my opinion, have to win or at least take 4 points. And if you'd have said to me, out of a period of Arsenal, Leeds, Liverpool, Villa, Arsenal, Brentford and Forest, and you said to me, Mike, you accumulate, what would it be? Say 13 points, 15 points, whatever it works out to. I think that's a really good return. So if we can win tomorrow, that's great. If we don't, it's not necessarily the end of the world. It just probably puts a bit more pressure on us to go away from home and get a result, which, you know, we haven't saw Sean Dyche's team away from home against a poor side. Liverpool, as poor as they have been this season, they always step up against Everton. We haven't seen him away from home. He's going up against Arsenal, who, you know, have gone from, in the space of 10 days, thinking they've bottled the league to having the opportunity to go 5 points clear again, or 8 points clear, or whatever it is. So they'll have, you know, they're like a dog with two tails at the minute, wagging, they're excited. So it wouldn't surprise me if we get thumped. But we can't take that into games like Forest away and be negative about it. You know, we can go to Forest with the defensive stability, the structure, and we can get a point, we can get a result. And if we can go away from home and pick up 4 or 5 points and add that to our tally and just get the, you know, the 3 or 4 home wins that we need, we'll stay up. We will stay up. So it's not rocket science. We're not a million miles away from it. I still think we probably need another 4 to 5 wins. But I think we're capable of getting them. And even if we're not, if we get 4 wins, I think we're capable of a few draws. This Everton side look completely different. And I'm being positive. I think Everton, touch wood, win this game 1-0. But if we don't, as long as we don't lose, it's not the end of the world. Guys, look, I'm leaving it there. Short, sweet, aggressive. And I'll see you on the other side. Going to be a bit more content coming out with some other creators. You know, the Mike and Millsy show sort of died a death. We just can't get scheduling. It's difficult. John's been working a lot. So, again, trying to get his scheduling and around it. So, again, difficult. Obviously, we've had a lot of home games. And John can't do... If I'm not at the game, which I'm not going to be this weekend, unfortunately, it's difficult for me and John to do a match reaction. So yeah, that's where we are. Guys, keep smiling, up the toffees, have a fantastic Friday tomorrow. Don't do anything I wouldn't. And let's hope for 3 points on Saturday, eh? Peace.